right, well, good morning. Todd Falcone here. My backyard is going to be about 110 degrees today. I'm getting ready to leave tomorrow morning bright and early for Ray Higdon's Top Earner Academy. So I thought I'd give you some top earner tips before I go into the air conditioning for the rest of the day. So check this out. So I'm in the process of barking. I'm in the process of putting together my presentation for this particular training. I started to think about like what kind of things have made me a top earner over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And I actually went all the way back to when I first actually began to earn money. And I think these are little habits that I began early on as a kid. The first thing that I did to make money was I mowed a lawn. And unlike some people who would mow a lawn, maybe my buddies, where they would leave these big gaps, these big strips, and then they would go up and ask the homeowner for money. I just had attention to detail. I mean, very, very simple, but when I went up and asked for the money, what happened was they gave me the money and then they gave me a tip, rather than, hey, well, why don't you go fill in the gaps because you did a crappy job on mowing the lawn. So attention to detail is one thing, and I've taken attention to detail and propelled that forward in everything that I've done as an entrepreneur over the last 20 years. My first job, I was working at Jack in the Box, and I know this might kind of sound silly as well, but I remember working on the grill, and there was another kid that was working next to me on the grill that was learning how to grill hamburgers. And I mean, grilling hamburgers is it's kind of easy, isn't it? I mean, you throw a hamburger on the grill and you grill it and you flip it. Well, here's the thing. When you press a frozen burger into a grill and it begins to cook, it generally starts to stick. And the kid next to me was taught that one of the things that they teach you is, dig the spatula basically into the grill itself. And he was kind of lightly fluffing it along, so he would just mash all these burgers. And what was interesting is now, I mean, this is kind of stupid as well, but I made sure that I paid attention to following the system the way the system was taught. So, instead of lightly, kind of taking the thing across the grill, I would drive the spatula into the grill and be able to easily, remove those things from the grill itself, so I was able to flip those burgers. Much like I see people in the kitchen who are, trying to be taught by chefs, or maybe even somebody who takes a chef class, but they're not really paying attention. Like, for example, if you ever see a chef when they're sauteing something and they're not actually using a spoon to flip it, they're actually flipping stuff. Well, they're not actually flipping it, they're rolling it. So I remember being in a kitchen with a guy and he was trying to, imitate a chef, but really wasn't paying attention to the way it was actually done. He was kind of halfway paying attention to the way it was done. So he's sitting there flipping stuff, and there's like potatoes and carrots and stuff flying all over the place, instead of the actual roll that takes place. If you watch this, next time you watch a chef and they're not using a spoon, or they're not using something to stir it, they're actually flipping it, they're actually rolling it. So there's a technique where you're actually rolling the pan and stuff actually rolls out of the pan and turns over. So the other part for me is just paying really specific attention to the details of what's being taught to you, especially, and one of the other lessons I learned really early on, and this was probably the biggest early on lesson about making money, was I had a guy who was teaching me how to sell cable television door to door, and he had a system to do it, and his system involved only going into specific neighborhoods. We only sold cable television into Spanish neighborhoods. We only sold HBO, and when we did that, it's getting a little warm. You can see I'm sweating, so I'm going in the shade here for a second. What I did is I followed his system exactly to the T, and I didn't question it one bit, because this guy had something that I wanted to have. He had success, he had money, I didn't have either one, and I certainly wasn't going to reinvent the wheel and do it my own way based on my own ideas. So those are just a couple quick top earner tips. I know they're kind of silly, but they were definitely things that helped propel me forward in life, and lessons that I learned early on that I continue to use today. So that's it. I'm out of here. I got to go pack. Got to get ready for my trip. And for those of you that are going to be in Orlando at the Top Earner Academy, I will see you there. And some of you, hopefully, you'll be on live stream and be smart enough to do that. And we'll see you. Bye.